2 slices of bread. Something in between. That is the entire invention. No chemistry, no fermentation, no curing, no aging, no secret ratio. A sandwich is the only major food in history that requires zero technique to assemble. But here is something that might surprise you. Right now, in a factory in the north of England, a 6-axis robot is picking up a slice of bread, placing it onto a filling, and rotating it exactly 45 degrees so an ultrasonic blade can cut it into 2 triangles. Those 2 triangle halves in your convenience store box did not come from the same sandwich. Americans eat 300 million of these every single day. The laziest idea in food history runs on the same engineering as a car assembly line. Greencore is an Irish company that used to make sugar. Today it produces 748 million sandwiches per year. Their largest single factory pumps out 3 million sandwiches every week, consuming 300,000 loaves of bread. The triangle packaging alone, just the plastic box your sandwich sits in, is a $1.2 billion market. And that premium sandwich you pay twice the price for. The one with the handmade label and the artisan branding? Same factory, same production line, same workers. The only difference is the label on the outside of the box. So how does a single factory pump out 3 million sandwiches in 1 week? It starts with bread, not baking it, sorting it. Fresh sliced bread arrives at the Greencore factory in Worksop and feeds into a denester, a machine that grips each loaf and fans slices apart onto the conveyor, one at a time. Any slice with a tear, a dent, or an uneven edge gets rejected by optical sensors before a human ever touches it. 900 varieties of sandwich come off this line. 300 change every year. A steel roller spreads butter in a single pass. At the next station, a nozzle system sprays mayonnaise, calibrated to within a fraction of a gram per slice. Too much and the bread softens within hours. Too little and the filling dries out before the sandwich reaches a shelf. Then humans step in, barehanded, no gloves. This is the detail that made national news when cameras got inside the factory. Greencore's reasoning is counterintuitive. Bare skin detects a stray hair, a piece of plastic, a fragment of shell faster than latex ever could. Gloves mask contamination. Bare hands feel it. Touch your face, even once, and you leave the production hall to re-scrub entirely. Workers place cheese, ham, lettuce, tomato. On fully automated lines, robotic arms do the same. Then a Stably TX260 HE 6-axis robot picks up the top bread slice, lowers it onto the filling, and rotates the assembled sandwich exactly 45 degrees, diagonal on the belt, so the next machine can cut corner to corner. That next machine is not a blade. It is an ultrasonic cutter vibrating at 20,000 cycles per second. At that frequency, the vibration splits the bread's cell structure before the edge pushes through. No compression, no drag. A regular knife smears mayonnaise across the cut. An ultrasonic cutter leaves a surface so clean you can count the layers of filling. Every cut identical. Every triangle the same weight within a gram. Triangles drop into plastic wedge containers, a shape chosen not for aesthetics but for shelf geometry. A triangle box displays more filling to the customer's eye per centimeter of retail space than any rectangle. Auto labels print ingredients, allergens, expiration. Now the clock starts. Every step from this point runs below 5 degrees Celsius, because above 5, listeria doubles every 90 minutes. Finished sandwiches load directly onto refrigerated trucks. 10,500 deliveries per day, direct to store. On shelf within 24 hours of assembly. From the moment that bread hits the denester to the moment you pick it up, the temperature never breaks 5 degrees. One unbroken cold chain, 1 degree of margin. None of that would exist without one man, and he was not a baker. Otto Rohvetter was a jeweler in St. Joseph, Missouri. Around 1910, he became obsessed with a problem nobody else cared about: slicing bread by machine. Bakers laughed. Sliced bread would go stale in hours. He built a prototype anyway. In 1917, a factory fire destroyed the machine and every blueprint. He spent 11 years rebuilding from memory. On July 7, 1928, his 48th birthday, the machine ran for the first time at a bakery in Chillicothe, Missouri. One bread brand reported a 2,000% sales increase. Those 300,000 loaves per week at Green Corps exist because a jeweler refused to stop. Sliced bread did something nobody predicted. It turned the sandwich from a thing you assembled with a knife into a thing anyone could make in 30 seconds. Peanut butter, 24 cents a jar, no refrigeration needed, plus jelly on 2 pre-cut slices became the cheapest full meal in the Depression. The U.S. military put both on ration menus during World War II. Soldiers brought the habit home. Peanut butter and jelly plus sliced bread became the permanent American lunchbox. The name sandwich itself is even lazier than the food. John Montague, 4th Earl of Sandwich, middle of a 24-hour card game, too stubborn to leave the table, ordered cold beef between 2 slices of bread. The other gamblers started asking for the same as sandwich. No patent, no recipe, just a name borrowed from a man who could not be bothered to eat properly. Then a 17-year-old asked a nuclear physicist how to pay for college. Fred DeLuca, 17, minimum wage, wanted to study medicine. At a barbecue, he asked physicist Peter Buck how to afford college. Buck wrote him a $1,000 check. Open a sandwich shop. Day 1, 300 sandwiches. End of summer, $6 left. Buck's advice? Open a second store to create the image of success. On local radio, Pete's Submarines sounded like Pizza Marines. They renamed it Subway. DeLuca built a $3.5 billion fortune. 27,000 U.S. stores at peak. Died of leukemia at 67. After, 8,345 stores closed over 10 years. But Subway opened 1,000 new locations overseas in a single year. Here is where the story flips. Otto Rohvetter, the jeweler who gave the world sliced bread, was forced to sell his invention during the Depression. He spent the rest of his career as a salesman for the company that bought his patent, selling his own creation for someone else. He retired in 1951 and died in 1960. The phrase, "the greatest thing since sliced bread," came from his original 1928 advertising slogan. He never saw a dollar from it. That bread smell when you walk into a Subway is real. But the dough comes from Arista, the same company supplying McDonald's and Walmart. Frozen, shipped cross-country, thawed and baked in store. Freshly baked is technically accurate. Freshly made is not. All of it, $445 billion, 6-axis robots, cold chains below 5 degrees, 10,500 truck deliveries every day, started because a gambler was too lazy to stand up and eat a proper meal. Next time you pop open that triangle box, those two halves probably did not come from the same sandwich. But they came from the same idea. The laziest and greatest invention in food history. That is the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there is something you would like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.